Hi there. Today in Music Gear Marketplace, I've got a grab bag for you. I've got a mixture of synths. I have Akai, Kawai, Korg, Roland, Moog, a few interesting keyboards in here. A couple of them are very interesting. I'll give you the written specs so you can take a look at those. I'll discuss prices, features, and more. Let's do this. Here's our first synth. It's the Akai AX60. This is a cool little synthesizer. It's a 6-voice VCO, not a DCO, it's a VCO synth. It's got an arpeggiator. Now, $500 is a decent price for this. Usually the going rate's about $600 to $800. So we got used good here. Local pickup only if you live in Chicago. We only have one pitcher. Kind of hard to tell with just one pitcher, but it looks pretty good. We could read the description. Got this Akai AX60, works well, especially for its age. Well, I don't really like that qualification. Other than that, that might be a good choice. $750, good. Let's take a look. End caps look pretty good. Looks like we got a couple of fader caps that are missing. We got one missing here and one missing here. Other than that, it doesn't look too bad. There are some advantages on this machine to, say, a Juno 106 in that it has a few additional waveforms for the oscillators and you have a split mode. Looks like the display is working. You have just about the same amount of sliders that you have on a Juno 106. So it's a pretty decent machine. I would say it doesn't sound quite as good as a Juno 106. But at these prices, it's hard to pass up. You do get MIDI, which is nice. It's pretty much impossible to find a Juno 106 for $750. Now make an offer. You can make an offer and maybe, I think, $625. Maybe even $600 wouldn't be an unreasonable offer. And then you have $120 shipping. If you lived locally and could pick it up, then it would be a very good deal. Let's see. This one's actually at Sin Tower, but it's $1,175. I don't think I would go into the $1,000 range for one of these instruments. $750 is a good deal. I think I would stop right here. You might be able to source those sliders from Sin Tower if they happen to have them. Otherwise, what you might want to do is take this slider here and move it to that spine there. Take this one off and find 3 matching ones on a place like Amazon. Let's move on. The Akai AX73. So this is a very simple synth, and I'll throw up the specifications for it in a moment. You do get 73 keys. $1,500 is ridiculous. I would say the going rate on this is about $800 to $900, which is still kind of high. But that's what people are asking. I think a more reasonable price for a synth like this is about $700, maybe $800 at the most. It's parameter entry, and that makes it a lot less appetizing than, say, the AX60, where you have sliders that you can use. This one looks pretty clean. No complaints there. We do have a few more pictures. They could have used a bit more light. Looks like there might be a little bit of fading to the silk screening there, but nothing terrible. some kind of smudging. That could just be fingerprints or some dust, or it could be something a little bit more. We have to be realistic though. This is a 40-year-old synthesizer. Be nice to see the display on. All in all, that looks pretty good. Let's read about it. Sounds just like the AX60, but with simplified controls. Simplified controls meaning less controls. Has some little scrapes and scratches and cracks, blah, blah, blah. Tried to super glue. Well, that's not good. See what else we've got. This one here at $1,000. I think at this point you're just really out of the price zone. At least they have the display turned on. It's a lot cleaner over here. A little bit of fading to the display, to be expected for its age. This wouldn't necessarily be a synthesizer that I would buy. It's too simple. I really want at least 2 oscillators and a sub, and you're not getting that with one of these synthesizers. But speaking of 2 oscillators and a sub, the Akai AX80, and I own one of these, and I bought one brand new years ago, and then I had to replace it after I sold it like an idiot. A good price on these is about $900, but looks like we've got a couple of choices that are less expensive. Here's one in Claremont, Florida. They're willing to ship. $99 is not unreasonable shipping on this, because this is one heavy 61-note keyboard. The condition is not good though. The end cap's really scraped up. Looks like there's some finish issues here all across the top, and some scrapes and scratches here. I'm not sure this is one I would seriously consider. Those end caps have definitely seen better days. If you could find one where the main body of the synthesizer is in good shape, but the end caps are bad. I've seen people replace these with walnut end caps, and they look very nice. And you could do it yourself and then just spray them black if you'd prefer a black look. Yeah, that's pretty beaten up, and it looked like it was also missing a, yeah. These break off from time to time. The spine is probably fine and it probably still works, but these top portions crack and then they come off. Let's see if we can find one a little better. $800, it's in LA. Local pickup only, but let's take a peek. It would be nice if they turned it on, because this is a giant fluoro display and it's important to make sure that it's working. And these 2 LED displays over here are red. You want to make sure those are working too. I'm not a fan of membrane buttons, and these are all membrane buttons here, but might have been reliable on my Akai AX80, so I can't complain. Okay, we got some damage here, but this is probably pretty easy to fix if you're handy. A little bit of wood putty and some spray. You would need to take the end panel off to do this, but it's not hard to do. Other than that, it does look pretty clean. Let's see if we have anything better to choose from. $935. We'll take a quick peek at this one. The display's on here, and we can see that it looks pretty decent. These are little individual, tiny little horizontal dashes, and it's nice to have a close-up on them so you can see if any of them are fading out. A couple of mine are starting to fade. There's also some LEDs here, and you can see one of them's on, also on this side too. This display is working, that's good. Sometimes this large knob here is missing and has been replaced with a non-original unit. Looks like the original. Got some scrapes and scratches here. Here's another one where the top is broken off. It's probably easy to source these, probably not the original ones. You could try Syntower, or you could just I'd probably pop them both off and then find something on Amazon that are identical that you could replace them with. So we've got a close-up here, and these all look in really good shape. These horizontal lines here, some of them can start to fade on you a little bit, but these still look very bright, better than the ones on my unit. Let's see if we got any text. All sliders, fluorescent displays are bright and working condition. There are some general wear and scuff marks. One of the plastic knobs is missing a top colored cap. Yes, it is. Let's look at one more. Oh, speaking of ones with wood side panels, this person did it. These are nice panels that this person created. This person's got skills. So you may or may not like the look. It looks like they have the originals as well, and they're probably included. We can check the text. They've given us plenty of pictures, which is nice. Maybe something right there, but something minor. I like the side panels that they created. I like the color and everything. I'm just not sure if they suit this synthesizer. It's all black color. It would be a shame to spray them black, but it would probably actually look better with them in black. They're the originals. It does look pretty clean. So if we got any up close pictures. Back panel looks pretty clean. We got something going on here. Looks like it goes down either to the metal or the base coat. And then also something here that doesn't look like a hair. I think that's a scratch, and some minor scuffing and scraping. Not bad. A little bit here and some more. Nothing really to write home about. I would say this unit is in very good condition. And it does look like they're giving you the ends with it. Yep. So you get the ends with it, the old original ends, and then you also get the ones that they custom made. I would be very tempted to spray these black. Even though they look beautiful here, I just don't think they match the machine. I don't think $150 is totally out of the range for shipping. I would say that $120 would be a more fair price, but this is a heavy synthesizer. $1,000 for this synthesizer is about the going rate in the US. The Korg Poly 800 Mark II, and there's also a Mark I. The Mark II has MIDI system exclusive on it. It also has a delay effect rather than a chorus effect. I think $791 is a little high. I think a reasonable price on a Poly 800 is $300 to $400, and you can get a Mark II or a Mark I, whichever you prefer. $300 to $400 is what I would think is reasonable. Let's see if we can find any for that price. Non-functioning, $175. I wouldn't risk it, and it looks like it's in bad shape. Looks like some of the keys are broken, so I wouldn't even go there. Another non-functioning, and that looks like the original. Here's an original that's in the Ukraine. Buckley, Washington. Let's take a look at that. $300, $20 for shipping. It's in 2 other carts. Interesting. $20 is very reasonable shipping. This looks in very nice shape. If you saw my episode on the JX8P and the JX10, the plastic surface here can suffer from the same issues that they suffered from. And it usually happens over here on these end portions. You can see that there's no fader caps on these, but that's the original way that they were created, so don't think that they're missing. That's just the way they are. Hopefully that is not how far over you have to have that to have it in tune. Perhaps they just slid it over there for fun. I don't know. The front panel doesn't look bad. A little discoloring here, and there's also something going on there. The silk screening looks pretty reasonable. It's very nice to have this available to you because you're going to be doing parameter entry here. You have to type in a parameter and then type in the value for that parameter. It's kind of tedious, but that's just the way it was back in those days on some of these budget synthesizers. We only get one picture. Let's see if we have anything else. What was the price on that? That was Buckley, Washington, right? $300, not bad. We have 305. It's a very blurry picture. What am I supposed to tell from that? This looks kind of worn. I'm already thinking no, but you can see that this is the more black look, the Poly 2. The Poly 1 has the white tops on these. I think I would skip this one. I'm just getting a bad vibe from it, and it's also just not looking very clean, and it's kind of beaten up a little bit. Boynton Beach. Very good condition, it says. This is an original. Here's where some of the finish is wearing off on this one. And this can happen. That looks like tape residue, maybe from a paper label or something, but I would ask them. Got some other stuff going on. I'm always worried about the display if the unit isn't turned on. Also remember, these are portable in that they will take batteries, and there's guitar strap buttons on each side. You want to make sure that the battery cover, which is on the back, is present. A lot of people lose it, break it, and then they just use duct tape over that opening to keep it closed. And sometimes they don't tell you about it. So you definitely want to ask. Let's do one more. Poly 800 Mark II in very good condition, Winchester, California. Totally. See, they have it turned on, which is nice. It's a Mark II. Got lots of pictures, so let's take a look at them. We got a finish issue here. Remember, I was just saying about that finish issue. You can tell how the glossiness has gone here. That's unfortunate. Let's make sure that's just not, no, it's not something to do with the picture or the flash. It's definitely starting to wear here. And I've seen these before like this. And when I went looking to buy mine, I avoided these. It's a shame because otherwise it's in pretty good shape. If that didn't bother you, the rest of it looks pretty nice. And on this side, it doesn't seem to be so much of a problem. And when I've seen them with this kind of a problem, for some reason it's always over here. Maybe it's putting their arm down the side here to use the joystick. That could be why. And then just the oils from your skin and your sweat can be corrosive. So that's probably what's happening there. Other than that, it looks in very nice shape. Maybe something going on there. Remember, this does have MIDI and it does have system exclusive on it. It's a little tricky to use. Looks like the battery compartment may be missing. I have to read what it says in the description. I wouldn't buy a unit. Oh, there's the battery compartment, it's on. They just took it out so that you could actually see that it's not corroded. And that's really good to do that, because a lot of people don't do that. And you get it and then it's all green and scuffy and you have to take the unit apart and clean it up. And I hate having to do that. Especially after you've just paid money. What you want to do is start to enjoy it. You got some scuffs and scrapes on the bottom, and if this doesn't worry you here, what kind of pricing were we talking about? They say make an offer. I would offer $235. That's kind of a lowball offer, but then with shipping, that makes it right at $300. The fact that it's missing the finish here, it's not going to affect functionality unless they tell you in the description, but it's a little bit of a downer. let's move on. The Korg Polysix. When I went looking to buy my Juno 106, I was originally interested in the Korg Polysix, and I've always liked the Korg Polysix. I think a fair price for one of these synthesizers is about $1,200. $4,000 is way too much, even with the Kiwi MIDI retrofit. And there's some other MIDI retrofits for these devices, but I would be looking around about the $1,200 price range. And I mean, they're not that rare. You'll see plenty for sale. There are plenty for sale. Let's take a look. So we actually have one here way under $1,200. Oh, it's non-functioning. $1,100, but it's local pickup only. Let's take a peek. They say it's very good condition. It's in Hoboken, New Jersey. Okay, we got some end cap wear. Not unusual for these synths at the age that they're at. Always loved this deep blue color of the Polysix. They use that on the Mono Poly as well. It's a very clean layout. This is a good looking synthesizer. Yeah, this, you know, a little bit of a touch-up pen here. Probably make it look a lot better. We're not seeing the entire back panel, but what we are seeing looks pretty clean. You could ask for some more pictures. If you were interested and you didn't need MIDI, this would definitely be a choice. Battery replacement and board repair were done professionally a few years ago. You might want to send them a text and ask them what board repair was done. Works and sounds great. I mean, are they talking keyboard repair? I mean, I don't know exactly what they're saying there. I can send you some more pictures and show the repairs. Okay, that's cool. I mean, they're being open and honest, and that's the best you can hope for. Let's see what else we got. Let's see how much we have to pay for one with MIDI. This one right here, it looks like. $1,400. At this point, we are above our $1,200 price range, where personally, I wouldn't go above that. You're just not getting something that's worth it. And I know a lot of people are probably screaming at the screen saying, just buy something from Behringer, buy one of the clones. And, you know, they could be right. But if you specifically want a Korg Polysix, this is a choice. It's in Brooklyn, New York. They're asking $114 for shipping, which is reasonable. So it does have MIDI on it. You can make them an offer. And because you can make them an offer, you might be able to get it around about $1,200, which I think would probably be reasonable. Now, this finish here can start to look faded and worn. And there's certainly a few telltale signs here. This does look a little faded. Hopefully there's some close-ups and we have plenty of pictures. The end caps are showing quite a bit of wear here, here, and here. And there's kind of a chunk out right there. Hopefully we have some close-up pictures of those. Yep. That's a little bit more than just the veneer coming off, because this is a veneer over kind of a particle board or hardwood board. So, I mean, you could put a little bit of brown marker on this and maybe make it look a little better, but sanding it and using some wood putty and forming it would probably be better. That's a pretty big chunk right there. It looks like a rat just ate a piece. But probably some wood putty and then something. But remember, this is a strip of veneer over this, so it's never going to look perfect. You're going to lose the wood grain, but it would make it look a little better. We've got a few scuffs and scrapes. How does the panel look? Okay, so this is a telling sign. You can see there's rust on these screws. Usually this is an indication that this keyboard was kept in a moist environment. And I'm not saying underwater, but I am saying maybe on the eastern seaboard, and we know it's on the eastern seaboard, but it might have originally been in Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, somewhere where it's humid a lot. Also, it might have been used in a basement. And the fact that we have some serious rust here and corrosion on this guy tells me it probably saw a lot of moisture. See a little bit starting here on these. These are things you should definitely look for. That looks like it could be surface related, but it may go through the finish. It's hard to tell. Front panel doesn't look bad from this angle. There's a few little spot scrapes. These screws do look a little bit degraded, like there might be a little bit of rust forming. It's hard to tell. I think this was in a very moist environment. And remember, what we're seeing here is on the outside. On the inside, on the PCB, on the connections, they suffer from a moist environment as well. So that's something to consider. I think I would probably avoid this one. It's just too many signs saying stay away. And now we're into a price area where I just don't think it's worth going for it. The big advantage on this one was the MIDI retrofit. But, you know, part of owning a classic synthesizer is not having MIDI on it, but it's harder to integrate into your studio. Let's look at the next unit. The Korg Mono Poly. Now, $3,700 is way too much. About half that is a decent going rate. I would say about $1,700. For what it is, it should be even less, but I think a reasonable going rate on these is about $1,700. Let's see if we have any around about that price. You can see there's plenty of them. They're not rare, at least not on the used market. $1,500, even better than $1,700. Well, they say that they've dropped it from $2,100. Let's take a peek. This doesn't look good already. The end caps are certainly not in the best shape. And there's something going on here. Don't know if something was spilled here and then got corrosive and they didn't wipe it off, or what exactly happened. It's hard to say. Is that an original cap there? I thought they all had this silver color. I don't think that's original. We'll be looking at another unit in a minute and we'll have to take a look, but I'm pretty sure that's not original. Back panel looks pretty clean. I mean, it's not without wear, but that's to be expected. The Mono Poly, the Polysix, they all have this cord wrap on the back, which is kind of cool. Yeah, Big Rat took a big bite out of there. I think this would probably be one that I would just avoid. What kind of price were we looking at? $1,500. Well, it's less than the $1,700 that I say that you should pay. If it were just the end caps, those you could work on and pretty up a little bit. But this damage here is going to be unrepairable. Let's see what else we have. That's in Tokyo. Joseph's Gear Garage, $1,750. And that's a pretty reasonable price for shipping, $90. Hopefully that includes enough insurance for the device. It's a heavy device. There's a lot of metal in this device. And they do have make offer, so you could offer $16, $15, $90 or something. This looks in much better condition. Yeah, see, that has the silver cap on top. That other knob was not an original knob. That's something you have to look for. You say, well, I don't care. I just care that it works. Well, if you ever decide to sell it, it's going to become important. The front panel looks very clean. Always loved this dark blue. This looks very nice. There's probably some scrapes on these end caps. I mean, we can see a few. Let's see, it looks like we got plenty of pictures. Yeah, I don't know if they're trying to show us anything specific or they're just showing us a picture. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good too. You can see this auto damp area here does not have the dampness that that last one had. This looks clean. We got some scuffing here. I'm really not worried when it's the end caps. Usually you can take the end caps off with a little bit of wood filler. You can actually buy this wood grain laminate here. You can buy it where it's self-adhesive, and it's pretty easy to put on. I mean, it does take some skill, but I mean, there are people out there with better skills than me, and I still manage to do stuff that's passable. This does look clean. Yeah, the back panel looks pretty clean. Of course, you don't get MIDI on this synth, but it's part of the delight of analog, really old analog anyway. And the side panels really aren't bad, not for the age of this instrument. It's a nice picture. Really nice Korg monopoly that was serviced last year prior to my purchasing from a seller in Japan. Oh. Was converted to 120. Okay. So it was converted to 120, so you don't have to worry about that. So, you know, that's a good thing. This might be a choice. 1750. You can run it off of US mains. You don't need to use a power converter if they upgraded it with a new power supply, which it sounds like they did. And you could message the seller and ask them that. Make an offer. I think I would offer, if I were in the market, probably $1,500. I don't know if I would go much beyond that, but I said $1,700 was a fair price. It says excellent condition. I would definitely say that all the panel graphics and main portions that are metal are in excellent condition, especially for the age. The end panels, a little bit of wear, but you could work with that. Next unit, the Korg Poly61. Now, this is a real budget synthesizer. I think a fair price is $400 to $600. This one here is $1 less than $1 million bucks. So I would say no. They won't even let you make an offer. Maybe you could offer them $800,000. What a deal. So let's skip these guys and get down to reality down here. Like I said, $400 to $600, and there's plenty to choose from. Well, we've got ones that are a lot less than that. Here's our first one, fair condition, $284, but a lot for shipping. That's in Canada. We'll take a quick look. Now this is parameter entry, and that makes it not very exciting for a lot of people. You don't get the immediacy of, say, a Juno 106 where you can move a slider. Or remember, we looked at the Akai AX60 right at the beginning, and that's a pretty affordable analog synthesizer with lots of controls. A lot of scraping there. Yeah, they said fair condition. The back panel doesn't look bad. That looks pretty decent. They're showing us the joystick. Is there something wrong with the joystick? Yes. I think that's the joystick housing right there. So it's not the clearest picture I've ever seen. I'm betting something is wrong with the joystick. Yeah, Korg Poly61 works good, not well, except for the joystick. All right. I was going to replace it myself, but they don't have the part in stock at Centaur. That's the thing about this old technology. If something's broken, you can wait a long time for a replacement part, as long as forever. And nobody wants to do that. Let's see if we can find one in better shape. Personally, I wouldn't buy a Poly61. It's such a basic synthesizer. But at these prices, you know, it's something to have a little bit of fun with, and maybe you can sell it for what you pay for it. They say that this is in very good condition. Let's see. Looks like all the knobs are on it. Doesn't look too bad. I'm guessing that this one actually works, and I'm talking about the pitch mod bend joystick. We got some scuffing and damage to the end cap here. Like I said, for all of these synths, it's unusual that you're going to find one where it's in really good shape. Same thing here. Even though we're getting flash bounce, it's off of some kind of damage here on the edge. Can't remember if that's like a little cut across there. And the famous cord tie. This one's not in bad shape. It says, I think, very good. I think very good might be a stretch. $100 for shipping is not bad. If you lived in Cincinnati, Ohio, you could make an offer. Maybe offer $250, settle on $275, go pick it up. That would be a smoking hot deal. It doesn't have MIDI. The 61M has MIDI. And it's basically it's basic note on, note off MIDI on the 61M, but at least it's MIDI. Let's see, non-functioning for $349. All right, now we're starting to get into a lot higher prices. Let's see if there's a 61M. Here's a 61M. That's in Spain. See if we can find an M. Champaign, Illinois. Like new. Well, gosh golly gee, for almost $900, it better be. Let's see. Remember, it's very basic MIDI. It's just MIDI on, off. These are the best pictures they could take. I wonder if it comes with a case. If it does, they're probably not shipping it. It does look in very good cosmetic condition. See, that just doesn't help. Not when it's that far away. And if I make it bigger, you can see we're losing a lot of the resolution. We can't tell if it's scratched, but it does look, like they say, mint condition. So it looks like you get a pedal with it. Yeah. Didn't show one picture of the back panel, which is a little disappointing, but you can't have everything. Let's get this back down to a readable size. I would say that, yes, that's pretty close to mint right here. This one in Champaign, Illinois. But for almost $900, that's expensive. $180 for shipping isn't unreasonable. I'm guessing it comes with the case, and it would be expensive to ship that in the case. The nice thing about shipping it in the case is it's probably going to show up in one piece. You can make an offer. I think if you could get it for maybe $600, that would be a smoking deal. And you have the case too. But really not the best synthesizer. Let's move on. Kawai SX-240. You're not going to find many of these. And I think a fair price for one of these is about $700. But these are the kind of prices you're going to see somewhere in the 3,000s. And they're just not worth it. I'll put the specs up for you to read. You know, it does have some split modes, and it's an analog synthesizer, and I think it has an ensemble on it, a chorus ensemble type sound. But it's not a very capable synthesizer. Not almost $4,000 here, or over $3,000 here. Good. It's just not that good. I would avoid these. Every once in a while, you'll find them for $800–900, and if you were interested, you could grab one. Let's take a look at this one since it comes with a box. This display looks very big, but it's really only 8 characters. It's an 8-character LED. It gave you a lot of pictures, which is nice. You get the box, the manual. I wonder if these cassettes still work. I mean, they got to be 40 years old. I wonder if they got a picture with it turned on. That would be helpful. I did one of these where I talked about the JX3P. The JX3P is programmable from the front panel, but it uses a lot of LEDs, and this one does the same thing. A lot of these LEDs right here light up to tell you what you're editing, because you can see there's no sliders. If you're thinking about buying something like this, I would say the Akai AX60, where you have sliders and you get that instant gratification, would be a lot better, a lot more fun. Yeah, it certainly is very clean. It looks like it's brand new. It looks like somebody purchased it, put it back in the box, and didn't take it out for many years. And there's those LEDs that light up, lots of them. And also the keyboard is used for doing a lot of the programming, like typing in names and values. 8-voice programmable polyphonic synthesizer. There's the ensemble feature, and there's the LED for it. It does have a high-pass filter. It's not a bad keyboard, but it's just not $3,000 good or $4,000 good. And it has the Korg type cord tie at the back. Now it looks clean inside. Power supply looks like it's new. And I guess this is the power supply board. We can't quite see it to see what the capacitors look like. There's some really small capacitors there. There's the display. Yeah, just 8 characters. It's big. You know, they make it look like you're getting this massive display, but you only get 8 characters. It's kind of unfortunate. This one is in beautiful shape. If you owned a synth museum and you were looking for an SX-240, this would be the one to buy. Looks like it might have just a little ding there we might have missed when I was looking at it. But this one is in exceptionally fine shape, and you even get the box and the tapes. Crazy. All right, the Roland SH-5. So I think a reasonable price for an SH-5 is $2,500 to $3,000. Now, I know people are going to yell at me in the comments if they own one of these synthesizers, but it's a monophonic analog synthesizer. For this kind of price, you could be buying a mini Moog. You could buy a Jupiter 6. There are so many synthesizers that you could buy for this price. That wouldn't be an SH-5, of course. And if you really want an SH-5, then you've got to have one of these. They're just very expensive to buy. You know, the cheapest one here is what? $5,300. And it says it's in excellent condition. Let's look at one that we can really see. This one's excellent. People that I've known that owned these also had large modular rack systems. And looking at the design of it, it kind of looks that way. This essentially is a clamshell, and there's a cover that goes on this, kind of like a Rhodes. Maybe they have it in the pictures. Yep, right here. So we'll get there, and we'll get to see that. This one does look in exceptionally good condition. I love the high-tech looking font here on synthesizer. This has really been taken care of. Somebody really loved this synthesizer and took great care of it. And you can see how the clamshell is going to fit on this and lock down. It even has little feet on the ends here and on the bottom. I played one of these for a couple of hours one day in a store and had a lot of fun with it, but I'm not sure I had $7,000 worth of fun. I suppose if any part of the condition of this is less than excellent, it is this back panel here. You can see that the paint has just peeled off and you've lost the silk screening. I'm not even sure what these do because it doesn't say. But of course you could find out online. And there it is with the other side of the clamshell. This would be exceptionally heavy to ship. You might even have to ship it freight. But it's a beautiful design that you can just close it up like that. It's instantly roadworthy. So that's really nice. Let's read a little bit about it. Rare and rather advanced late 70s monophonic synthesizer featuring 2 analog VCOs with triangle, ramp, square, and pulse waveforms. 2 LFOs, 2 filters, 2 VCAs, white and pink noise generators, and more. Made in Japan. Includes original lid, service prior to sale. Oh, it's in Australia. I didn't even see that. Okay, let's move on. I mean, if you're really interested in something like this one's in beautiful shape. If you can afford something like this, you can jump in your G7 and fly to Australia and go pick it up. Next up, the Moog Realistic ConcertMate MG1. Okay, some people do modify these and they put mods on them. And personally, if you were going to buy one, not a great synth to begin with. It was the first synth I ever owned, but not a great synth. I would buy one without any modifications. You want one in original shape. I think a fair price on one of these is about $500. Let's see. There's always plenty for sale online. I mean, not hundreds like there are for a Juno 106. Usually you can find 100 Juno 106s for sale. But you'll find at least 10. Used, poor condition, $477. I said $500. Can we find one in good condition? San Francisco, California. All right, let's take a look. Oh, we only get 2 pictures. Looks pretty good. It has this polyphonic kind of organ sound that you can play. So you can play it polyphonically, but you can't shape that with the filter, so it doesn't really matter. So picture on one end, picture on the other end. It does look in pretty good shape from what I can see. They say good condition. It looks like it's in better than good. I would say very good, but if you were interested, I would ask for more pictures. It's local pickup only. Let's find one where they'll ship it. It's not a very heavy device. Here we go. They're going to ship? Yes, $59. That's reasonable shipping. You get 2 octaves, and I believe it's a perfect fifth down here as far as keyboard size. It's not bad. This one looks in very nice shape. I believe this is the headphone jack. I haven't owned this in years, so I forget. I traded it in on an SH-101. All the sliders look original. All the knobs look original. And these are your standard Moog knobs that you find on a lot of their other synthesizers. At least I think they are. This one's in a really nice shape. Let's take a look at some of the other pictures. This person gave you a lot of pictures, which is nice. Yeah, that's really nice condition. Something there. It's minor. It's minor. Something here too. Here and here. I don't know what that is. But this is really in fine shape for its age, and regardless of age, I would say this is in very nice shape. Now, on some of the synths we looked at today, you would find rust on some of the metal, and I've seen some of these MG1s where this is heavily rusted out, and this one looks very clean. So not only is the machine showing off very well and looking very clean, but this is a good indication that it's been well taken care of and used in an environment that's probably not too moist. That's got a lot of the black paint on it still. I think it's funny the way they used to hand write the serial numbers on these. I think they also did that on the memory Moog too. The outputs are RCA, so you can run them to your 70s stereo system. Realistic. Oh my gosh. Radio Shack. Rest in peace. Okay, let's take a look at these. So there's a little bit of rust forming on these here. You know, this is some kind of corrosion. And here it definitely looks like a little bit of rust. But a little Brillo pad would probably take that off. Just be careful not to damage any of the finish. The best thing to do would be to undo this screw and see if that's a washer that comes off and clean it up. You know, little things like this may not bother you, but sometimes they irk me because I'm just crazy. But this looks in very nice shape. That's a very clean undercarriage there. Got a little bit of something, a few little minor scuffs, but nothing too bad. And we still have our feet because they're not attached like they are in a lot of modern synthesizers. They're not glued on. These are bolted on. So that's nice. Wow. Thinking this person is probably a tech and they're showing deoxit. Looks like they took it completely apart and fixed it all up, I'm guessing. This is a very simple circuit board because it's so old. Single-sided, tons of space. You just don't see this anymore. Today they just cram stuff together. Today there wouldn't be multiple circuit boards. It'd be one circuit board about 6 inches by 6 inches, and it would just cram all the components on there on both sides. Yep, that's a very clean one. That would probably be a good one to consider. We cleaned this one really good and did a thorough sound testing. Knobs and switches all work freely, but are a little stiff. Most functions perform just as they should. Most, except for 3 sliders, keyboard glide, noise, and polyphony, are problematic, with the glide completely non-functional. No. Pass. $100 repair kit? No. I'm not buying somebody else's problem that I have to try to fix, because who knows if I'm going to be successful. Let's try this one in Golden, Colorado. This looks good. Yeah, not bad. I think some of this is dust and some of it is kind of minor scuffing. Front panel looks clean. This doesn't look rusted. Even have a cover for it. Nice. See what they say. I bought it brand new myself in 1982. Yeah, I'm that old. It comes with a custom fit dust cover. Sweet. Like most of these realistic MG1s and the Moog Rogues of the same period, it had the issue of the internal dust barrier degrading down over the years. Okay, well, you can read all about this. To sum it up, the synth works well and sounds awesome, has that classic vintage Moog sound. I'm shipping it with the same patch shown in the front photo, which is a very classic fat Moog sound to get you started. The key bed dials and switches all work well, the sliders work, but do not slide smoothly. Well, a little deoxit will take care of that. They are not noisy and work fine, they just don't slide smoothly. Deoxit is just great for cleaning the contacts, and also it'll help things slide smoothly if they start getting oxidized. When I was young and vain, I put some duct tape over the realistic logo on the back panel. That's why it looks kind of faded a little bit. That might just be some tape goo. I later removed once I found out people now think the MG1 is a cool synth. But you can see some tape residue, which I show in one of the photos. It's honestly not that bad. Well, yeah, $575. I said $500 is a good price. Now, a lot of people don't let you make an offer, but you can always contact people if you if you're really gung-ho about a synth, and see if they'll take a slightly lower price. Last but not least, the Dubrek Stylophone. I guess this was the first musical instrument I ever owned that wasn't a piano. And really the piano my mom bought, right? So when I was 7, I got myself 7 or 8, I got a Stylophone for my birthday. So the S1 is the remake of the original. So we'll look for an S1. The X1 has, more controls and sound and tone control. But we're going to look at the S1, and I'm sure they have one here somewhere. They also make a beat version as well. Here's an S1. Brand new, New York, $34.95. So there's little reason to buy one of these used. I mean, what are you going to get it for, 20 bucks? And there's probably none for sale used anyway. A pair of modern style. One looks unused, but both untested. See, that's not going to help you. Okay, so here's one that's used, $30, $10 shipping. So that's 40 bucks. Where was that one in New York? For 38 bucks, a little over 38 bucks. You're getting one that's brand new. This is the one you should buy. $34.95 is the same price that Dubrek charges on their website. You can go to the Dubrek website. They charge $3.99 for shipping. So $3.50 is cheaper. So there it is. One of the cool things I always liked about this synthesizer is you can do a chromatic glissando. So you start down here with the stylus, and this is an edge of plastic here. It's about 1 millimeter or so high. And you can just run the stylophone up here, across the top, and then back down to here. And you hit every key. And you can't do that on a regular keyboard like a piano or a synthesizer. But here you can do it. And it's a chromatic glissando, and you're controlling it, which is pretty cool. So you get a power switch and you get a VIB switch here that you can turn on and off, and you can do that while you're playing. It runs on batteries. The original one I had back 100 years ago when I was a young guy, I think it ran off one of those little rectangular 9-volt batteries. Now I believe these run off of 3 AA batteries. You get a box because it's new. You get a little pamphlet. I ended up buying one of these about 5-6 years ago, something like that. And I ended up just eBaying it. It wasn't as great as I remembered, but, it's been a while. There was a lot of nostalgia. I should have probably just kept it. But it would kind of be like my VL1, my Casio, VL tone. I would take it down every once in a while and just buzz around on it and then put it back. These can sound actually really good. They have a 3.5 millimeter jack, so you can run the output through a chorus, through a delay. I actually used to run mine through when I had it for like about a few weeks before I sold it, I'd run it through my Line 6 Pod Pro XT, which is a guitar effects device, and I put some heavy distortion on it. And when you play a real guitar, you can do those chromatic slides. You can't do that on a keyboard, but you can do it on this one. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, you get an original box. I don't remember what my box looked like back in the day. I don't think it looked this fancy. So that's it. I'm going to pass you back to the other Jeffy. So the price that this one is listed for, this is a good price, $34.95. You're saving 49 cents on the shipping. If you were to buy it from Dubrek, you'd pay $3.99 for shipping. All right, back to the other Jeffy. That's just about it for this episode. I just want to advise you to do your own due diligence if there's a piece of gear in this list that you're interested in. I spend a lot of time poring over manuals and doing research on the internet and through other sources. But you should also do your own research when you get serious about a piece of gear. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in another episode soon.